Hey guys, welcome back to Dave's Dimension. Welcome back again for another video. So we got a little unboxing going on today, guys. Special unboxing. This is something I've been waiting for quite a long time. Now, those who've watched the channel know that we jump around. We do a lot of different unboxings. Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, that is the NECA, and Back to the Future merchandise, and of course, Power Rangers. Those are three of some of my, I guess you could say, favorite fandoms. Among others, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and I mean anything and everything from the 80s, guys. Let's be perfectly honest. Because I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 78, so I'm 42. So really the 80s were my core time. The 80s and the 90s, let's be honest. And the big hit back then, of course, was back in the late 80s, well, not even the 80s, early 90s, Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As you can see, well, normally you can see past my packs, I have a whole section of Power Ranger figures with the Lightning Collection. Now, I have two that we're going to unbox today. I have the this is by Hasbro, of course, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lightning Collection Z-Putty. Now, in case you're wondering, what is a Z-Putty? Well, of course, if you're a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fan, you know Rita Repulsa. She had her regular putties that just kind of bounced all over the place. Well, when Zed came in, Lord Zed that is, Lord Zed came in, and he brought himself a more powerful putty that you couldn't just punch them and kick them. In order to take them down completely, you had to bust them in their little shield that had Z for Zed. Or at least that's what everyone kind of went with. Now, this Z Putty I got from Amazon, actually. Right now, they're just regular price. A lot of places, you'll see pricing roughly about $22.99. I don't know if it's still available on Hasbro Pulse, but right now, a lot of their figures, especially the new waves, are not slated to come out until about March or April right now. So you got quite a few months to wait on any restocks. You could try Entertainment Earth and also Amazon, of course. That's where I went and I got this. This is the little Z Putty. You got the regular art on here. You got his face. Little background with him with his little energy blast like he's about to explode. And a little energy on his fist. Now, unlike the other putties, they didn't have like a big boulder or hammer like accessories for their fists. They just had rock fists. Hard enough as it is, right? So we got the art here, just your basic Power Ranger art. I do like that they are coming out with more and more bad guys. Because, I mean, yeah, there's tons and tons of Rangers, but we also need some bad guys for those Rangers to fight so we can pose them and display them accordingly. I'm one of those people like to change my displays up maybe every 2 or 3 months, maybe more. You know, it all depends. It depends, you know, they're your, like I say, they're your collectibles. You display them how you want. So we got the Z Putty here. But then we have my favorite Ranger of all time, the Green Ranger, Tommy Oliver. Now, you might say, well, hey, they've released the Green Ranger plenty of times. In fact, I have the Fliphead Ranger still in his packaging. I never opened them up. All the way in the back by my Green Ranger Tommy section. Now, with this is the evil Green Ranger, okay? We have not had this out yet. Yes, there have been Tommies that have had the Sword of Darkness on here. Most notably, the most recent time, or should I say the very first time, Lightning Collection released a Tommy was a double pack, a 2-pack, featuring Tommy, but it was more of the Fighting Spirit Tommy, which is a reference to an episode of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. When older Tommy was in a coma, and he had to face his previous versions of himself, with the exception of Turbo. Turbo was not present, so you had Green Ranger, White Ranger, and Zero Ranger 5 Red. So you had those, and he had to battle each of them. Now, due to copyright and design issues, I think because at the time Dino Thunder was actually produced by Disney, Yes, Disney actually had it for a brief minute. Now what they did was with his helmet, he actually had silver trim going on the top of the helmet. Now this, of course, doesn't have that because this is the classic Evil Tommy. How do we know? Well, he's rocking the headband, the notorious headband that he wore when he revealed to Kimberly that he was the evil Green Ranger and he was working for his Empress Rita. Well, she guessed that he was the Green Ranger and he was like, yes, Pink Ranger. So we get Tommy with his green headband, so he's kind of looking all badass, and he comes both with his dragon dagger and the sword of darkness. And of course there is a energy effect on here. I really can't wait to open this guy up. I actually got him earlier today, but I was doing another video, so I figured we're going to save these guys. I'm going to fight my urges to rip these boxes open and display them because I was doing another video on some Funko Pops. And if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll be able to see that because that's literally loading up within minutes of me recording this. Now, I know there's been a few people who've done the unboxings because they were fortunate enough to get these. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in the Northeast. And unfortunately, our stores do not get these items or the waves of the items. If we do, the only ones that we're really getting are the ones that do not sell that well. I'm in the Buffalo, New York area, Buffalo, Niagara Falls. And unfortunately, you see a lot of people posting online, oh, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. And you know what? They're out in the West or in the Midwest. Unfortunately, by the time the items are being trickled down to us, either that or the supposed bots, the programs that scalpers will utilize, like on eBay, you know, or they scoop up all the pre-orders. Fortunately, Green Ranger, excuse me guys, Green Ranger, I was actually able to get him through Hasbro Pulse pre-order. I jumped on him a while back, and I just now got him. And I mean, just from the look of the box, I mean, I've heard of some people having some issues with the gold, some cosmetic application issues. Not even opening it from the box, looking at the morpher. I mean, the morpher is not perfectly level, you know, with the black buckle part, but you know what? I mean, it's gold. That's the important thing that we haven't had in some of the previous Rangers. I've seen people's videos where they showed that the buckle was actually silver. Tommy's Dino Coin or his Mighty Morphin morphers were always gold, both with excuse me, when he was the White Ranger and the Green Ranger. So they did have that corrected. I mean, on the back, the art, I mean, the picture of him, everything looks 100% perfect. The green little trim on his boots here, everything looks pretty spot on. But when we open this up, we're going to take a look and see if everything lines up properly. We know these are promo photos, so they have to be perfect. So we're going to open him up and we're going to review him, and we're going to take a look at the Z Putty. Now, one thing I always thought was kind of weird on the Z Putties, and you'll be able to see this here, is on his boots, it's a laced up boot. I mean, well, that's accurate and all, but I just think that seems kind of silly, like almost like the wrestler boots, you know? They might have been. Who knows? So, we're going to jump into this, guys, and I'll be right back afterwards. Okay, guys, we're going to start off with the unboxing with the Z Putty here. And then we're going to follow up with Green Ranger, Mr. Tommy Oliver. So, it's... No, I'm not going to use him. Let's use Swiss Army knife here. And excuse the mess here. I use this as a desk and also for all my building, including the proton packs that you saw in the background previously. Of course, we got the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger logo, very classic here. Now, I'm not going to be overly protective with these boxes because, well, I'm an out-of-box collector. I just like to display these things. I am not holding on to them for monetary value. Of course, as always, we get the background. It would be cool if they just kind of threw a little, not necessarily a comic book or anything, but a nice little write-up giving the history or the true origins. A nice mythological origin story for the origination of the Z Putties. Or possibly where Zed actually comes from, some little background on their master. So this is kind of cool. The energy effect actually wraps around the putty. So you do, because in the show, when they would punch or kick the Z Putty in his center here, in his Z shield, he would just kind of like explode. So it's cool that they have this, and this kind of gives the little rock formation starting to explode right off of him. No plastic zip tie little things holding him in there. And we're going to get his accessories, his other accessories. He has some fists. Okay, there we go. Now here's a nice little look at the fist. As you guys can see, very nice detail on here. I mean, I'll say it again, and I know other people have pointed this out. The detail that Hasbro has really gone for their creature features, such as monsters, mutants, anything that doesn't look completely humanoid, always winds up looking a little better. So, here we are. Now, he's basically going to be the same form body that we're used to, except, of course, we got the Z shins here, these Z kneecaps. He's got the same kind of movement that you have on the Rangers here. Same kind of joints on the feet. And now it looks like he kind of twisted his ankle. Considering they're made out of clay, you don't have to worry about him being in pain. Pretty much the same arm joints as well. Everything's pretty much the same, guys. Okay, except the head. Now, I'm sure if you wanted to get goofy, you could probably pop the head off just like we do with the Rangers. And, I mean, if you wanted to have like some kind of Freaky Friday thing and throw Tommy's head on there, I suppose you could. Now, as far as this shield, I believe you could remove if you wanted to, but why would you? You probably have to remove his head, maybe, possibly. But we don't want to remove this. I mean, we basically know he's going to be all gray underneath here. It's not like there's some hidden Easter egg of any kind. So we're not going to fool around with that. I've heard of some people talking about fooling around with that. Now, here's something. There is a little quality control here. Some parts here, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's some indents here. Almost as if some of the plastic was, I don't know, maybe not completely smoothed in the mold. I don't know if this is just a QC issue with mine in particular. But if you guys have got the Z Putty and you notice the same thing, or if you take a look at yours and you notice the same thing, please drop a comment in the section below, and in the comment section. I would really like to know if this is something consistent or was this just a weird one-off kind of scenario. Now, really close to his head, you can see a lot of texture here. Now, here's something I noticed. There's a little scuff mark here. I don't know if that will come out. You guys can see that right there, right? I have some, I'm going to take a dab of rubbing alcohol and see if we can get that off. If not, it's probably just a matter of touching up the gray, matching up the gray perfectly. But let's just take a few quick rubs. Yeah, it's not coming off, guys. So mine's got a scuff mark on here. I mean, he's a putty. He's made of dirt and clay and rock. so I'm not going to freak out over it. But that is something a little annoying. Fresh out the box, and he's already got a scuff. You know, I'm wondering if I take a little bit of acetone, if that'll come off, but I don't want to do that in fear of ruining the paint. But I'll reach out to a few other people, and I'm going to see if anyone has any ideas. And hey, if any of you guys came across anything like this, and you have a hint, you have something that you've used and is tried and true, please drop it in the comments section below, and I will follow up on this. So what do you guys think? So far, he looks pretty good. I like that they did a two-tone here. They did a different color here. Part of it, like this part right here, I would have liked maybe to do a different, maybe metallic look here. I'm sure that's something I could do, like if I ran tape all over here. I could probably hand paint with some silver argent, or even do a little spray and make that change. But I think he's pretty good just the way he is. Now, let's take a look at this energy effect. Now, the way this is bent, or the way this is set up, this is a wider space, so I'm guessing that this goes on top, and this goes around his waist and torso. So that it looks like it's wrapping around his already existing vest, tunic, shield, whatever you would like to call it. So, there we go. Fits on there nice. The energy effect is not falling off of it. I mean, if we really want, I guess we could do, you know, kind of like he got kicked and he's exploding off into the distance. So, like I said, the joints are pretty good. They're not too loose. They're not too tight. They feel just right. We got the boot laces here, and it's nice to see they did a little variance between the left and the right. Can you guys see that? Now let's take a look at his, oh, they come right out. No difficulty there. It's always a little difficult putting them back on though. So there we are, we got the kind of the fist. Now it's interesting, this is a fist, but it's not a closed fist here. We could actually put something in here if we wanted. Okay. So these putties could hold a weapon, which is very interesting because this is a closed fist. This is like he's grabbing for you. But the alternate right fist is actually completely closed, so this is your punch. But right now, both these hands can grab stuff or hold stuff, which is good. Nice little effect. And honestly, this energy ball, this fireball fist that he has, will fit over any of the fists. Obviously, maybe not the greatest for the closed, but it still works, or the open hand, I should say. But it does kind of work here. Still works on that one, so you can use it on either or, guys. So there we are with the Z Putty. Now let's try him for stability. On his own, does he stand? Let me just... There we go. He stands pretty straight. Pound test, he's still standing. Still standing there, guys. So he's a pretty stable figure here. And a lot of times I will use these clear stands. These are pretty much designed for the other Hasbro figures, such as Star Wars. But I've actually used these on the Hasbro Plasma Series Ghostbuster figures. As you see right there, nice and pretty stable. I've used those, and I've also used the supposed, well, it says it's made by NECA, but I've had some mixed results with these. But I've used these for a lot of my Power Rangers as well. The peg doesn't seed into the bottom of the foot as well. It's nice if you just set it there. It's good. It's okay. But, I mean, after a while, this will just gently come out. I like the other ones because they actually fill in the hole of the feet and holds it in there pretty much, much more better. Now, one thing you will notice is because you have this big alternate fist here, this will also swivel even though you have the rotation joint. You have the elbow here, and then you get the rotating in the upper arm here as well. So, a couple things. Don't freak out if you start to see it move. You just have to realign everything. That's all. Okay, guys? So, that is Z-Putty. What do you think? How do you think? Is he a swing and a miss? Or is he a home run here? I actually like him. I like him a lot. Like I said, bending the arm and then rotating the fist. There we go. So let's throw everything back on him. It's almost like he's trying to throw a energy blast before he explodes. Like he's trying to get one more blow on the Rangers. So, there we are. I'm going to send him off to the side. And we're going to jump into Green Ranger. Tommy Oliver, who was the evil Green Ranger, White Ranger, Green Ranger again, while still being the White Ranger. Clone story where Rita was able to create an evil version of Tommy from a strand of his hair. It still had some of the Green Ranger energy, and she was able to have an evil Tommy face good Tommy as a whole time travel thing. And then that evil Green Ranger became good again and decided to stay back in time in colonial Angel Grove. Quite possibly Tommy becoming his own ancestor. That's just my little theory. Of course, later on, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers lost their powers, and then they had to get new powers from Ninjor. So Tommy went from being Green Ranger with the Dragon Zord power to being White Tiger, then getting the White Falcon power from Ninjor. And of course, then they lost all their powers, and they had to become Zeo Rangers. He was Zeo Ranger 5, Red. And then, of course, the Zeo powers weren't strong enough anymore, so then they had to shift into Turbo. He became the Red Turbo Ranger before giving that power over to TJ, who would later take the Rangers out into space. Tommy would return many years later as a high school teacher, even though he was actually a paleontologist working with dinosaurs, and he then, with some chosen students, made them into Dino Thunder Power Rangers, and eventually he joined them, showing that he could still pull it off. And that was the last time on TV that we saw him in with Ranger powers. And then many years later, of course, thanks to Superpowered Beatdown and its popularity, he reprised the role as Tommy Oliver in Green Ranger, and also with White Ranger, where the White Ranger battle, he actually battled against Scorpion. Superpowered Beatdown is an online channel that actually creates fantasy fights. Imagine if Deadpool took on the Joker, as an example. Okay? Crazy fights that you know would never happen in canon in their own universes, but they somehow gain popularity. Honestly, Jason David Frank has been one of the most favored Power Ranger actors of all time. He's played so many different Rangers. And, of course, his popularity grew so much that once he was brought back, people said they would love to see him come back. And, of course, he's come back for a few different crossovers with the different Power Ranger franchises. And, of course, now, thanks to Power of the Grid, which is a online multiplayer game, it's also on mobile. he came back, and of course they created an alternate universe in the comic book world where Tommy never went back to being good. He stayed evil and became Lord Draken. So that's another reason why I'm excited to have him, because so now I can have Tommy. I have Tommy White Ranger. I have Tommy Red Zeo Ranger. I have Tommy Lord Draken. And now I have Tommy Green Ranger. The only ones I need now is I need a Red Turbo Ranger, which they have yet to release any Turbo Rangers. Maybe that'll be in the wave after the current one. Because right now, their current wave, they're doing a SPD Blue. They're doing a SPD Pink, I believe. There's also Lost in Space, or rather Rangers in Space. Andros, Red Ranger, is a 2-pack with his sister. So that will be very interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. But let's get into Tommy. Green Ranger is my favorite of all time. So I am happy to finally have him. I still want to get my hands on that two-pack that was him with a regular Putty. However, one thing I'm a little miffed at is right now the cheapest or most inexpensive pricing for that is, well, that's a little bit of a sore subject, because I can find him on Amazon for $66.98 or something like that. But GameStop, if you happen to have a GameStop near you that actually has the 2-pack in stock, you want to jump on him, because right now GameStop is quoting an online price of $19.99. That's right, $20 for a 2-pack. But there's no availability anywhere near me. Like, I put the availability up to 100 miles, which is the limit. There's no GameStops or ThinkGeeks that has it in stock. And they also do not allow you to order online. There's no availability for online or to ship to you, which I think is a little lousy, but hey, that's just my opinion. What do I know? Of course, there's retail and other factors involved. This is a very cool art box right here. I love the energy effect that they have here. And opposed to previous Rangers or previous iterations of the Green Ranger, because I've read and I've seen videos of people talk about the sheath, the scabbard for his Dragon Dagger. This is actually correct. It should be black. I've seen people that have talked about this being white in previous releases, which is incorrect. It should not be. Now again, the shield is one piece, and this is definitely a nicer gold. I have the Walgreens exclusive Zach Black Ranger, where there was that episode where he had a shield. He wore Tommy's shield for quick moments. That one was more of a plastic look, and this one's a little bit more gold. It may not match 100% with his arms, at least by my eyes, but that's perfectly fine. Now, I've read some people talk about some of the cosmetics here being scuffed or wrangled. I don't have any smearing here. I mean, if I look at the plastic, maybe it's not 100% smooth, but the paint application is on point there. Okay? Now, of course, if you bought a Power Ranger figure, this has all the same movement as the others. Now, this is what I'm talking about here. The top point here, this little ridge, this and the side ridges that kind of curve along the sides here, this is what is silver on the Fighting Spirit version of Tommy in that Putty 2-pack. Now, as far as the boots here, I've seen some people talk about that the triangles, these lines are a little off, or that you can see them running up into the plastic. And honestly, if you really do look, I don't know if it's coming through. You can see this gold application was obviously applied. They should have went over it again, but you can see the triangles going all the way up here. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera or not, but in person you can see the triangles go all the way through. But I mean, from a distance, nobody's going to notice that. I mean, it's only noticeable, one, if you have a bright light here, like I have, and if you're looking at it in person. Otherwise, you're not going to notice it. So it's not that big of a deal, people. Now, you definitely don't want to take the shield off because he has no paint application under there. It's just solid green plastic. We don't have the white diamond like he did in the episode. So, I mean, you definitely don't want to do any kind of weird removal here. Now, it's interesting that they didn't go with the green plastic under here because that would make sense because he doesn't have the white diamond there. But that's neither here nor there. It's not that big of an issue. I do like the molding that they have the fabric kind of bunched in certain spots, so it looks like it is a worn suit. We're going to pop his head right off. The helmet itself is, I mean, to me, it's good. I mean, there is some slight imperfections with the plastic, but it's plastic, guys. It's not going to be 100% perfect. I like that they have the nice little red diamond right here. Now, here's one little weird thing. Right on the chin, if you guys can see it there. I mean, for the most part, you're really not going to see that unless you're really looking at it. It's almost like part of it wasn't... I mean, you can see it looks like it's part of the part of where when the helmet comes together, because the helmet is basically two pieces, where that's a peg that locks into place, like you would see on the inside of a toy. So the fact that that's not covered up is a little bit of an issue. I mean, it's a little thing you can gripe about, but I'm not really going to go there. I mean, is it something that Hasbro should have addressed? Yes. I mean, you want the helmets to be perfectly covered. Now, I have the original white Dino Thunder helmet, just as a comparison, and we don't have that there. Now, this is the original one because the Dino helmets, when they came, they didn't have the black trim along the visor. I actually emailed Hasbro and they sent me the replacement one. So I have the actual replacement one on the white Dino Thunder Ranger. But here's just an example, guys. You can see the same kind of partitions, the same little indents on both. But this one is covered up. This one, it is clearly covered up, whereas we have this little thing right here. So with that being said, I mean, for the most part, you're going to be looking at the helmet like this. You're really not going to notice that unless you somehow are propping your Tommy up to the sky, like he's looking up at the sky waiting for something to come down crashing on him. So, okay, so here we are. We have Evil Tommy. And the likeness on here, they do some great molds with Jason David Frank. I wish they would take that same kind of care. I mean, the hair on here, the texture, everything is great. Again, you can see the split of the plastic. I mean, if you're really looking close, you can see it. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty good likeness of him. He's got the flowing hair in the back, and even his little bandana, his little headband, it's bendable plastic here. So, you know, you don't have to be extra spicy careful with it. You can do whatever. So let's throw him, even though we never really saw him with his headband like that. I'm going to just throw his head on there. There he is. I mean, because at that point in the show, they weren't taking their helmets off. They would just demorph, and they were back in regular clothes. So, and see, this is what I'm talking about. You probably won't notice it. I mean, unless you really can't even tilt him. I mean, he would have to do a back bend there to really see it. I mean, it's just one small little gripe, I guess. I mean, all in all, I mean, it looks like an amazing figure here. I mean, we have the sheath. Now, here's the Sword of Darkness. I like... Okay, now, my Sword of Darkness is a little bent, but I'm sure a little bit bending back, and it's good. Okay? Now, when you first pull yours out, it might feel a little, you know, it's a soft rubber. So, I mean, paint application on here is pretty Johnny on the spot. I mean, that's my way of saying it looks fantastic. Now, the bottom part, this little tassel is plastic, so it's not going to be bending, okay? And I wouldn't honestly expect them to put any kind of fabric or string on here. I mean, things will spill. You want it to be plastic. For the most part, the paint seems pretty good. I mean, it is plastic, so we get the little circle from obviously where they detached it from its molded piece, but it's got some pretty good detail here, guys. Pretty awesome detail right there. Let's take a look at the Dragon Dagger. Now, again, it comes out a little bent, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, we don't expect it to be 100% perfect detail here. You know, there's a little... If you really look at it here, you can see... I don't know if it's going to show up, so let me do this with my hand. You can see there's like a little tab that's sticking out here, which wasn't on the dagger itself. So obviously that's a piece of plastic, and it's got the gold on here from when they painted the handle itself. Some of the paint on the pommel is slightly faded on the backside here. But I mean, for the most part, this is either going to be sheathed or it's going to be in his hand. Now let's see, how well does it fit? Fits in there pretty good, no matter which way you put it in. So let's get him holding his sword. And I like this energy blast that they gave him. Let's see, how do we... That's the one thing I still have yet to kind of get the hang of putting these energy surges or effects on here. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Tommy with his Sword of Darkness. Now, of course, you can play around with your energy effects. You know, you could be a real smartass like me and have him pretend like he's He-Man. I have the power. I know. Not enough caffeine, I guess. So, I really like this figure. I mean, it is your basic Ranger body. His hand comes with an extra open hand. And of course we have a fist. A left fist and a... This almost looks like a... like he's going to play the flute. The Dragon Dagger, I should say. So... the reason why I say this is because it almost looks like his middle finger and thumb are about to touch, like he's trying to play something. But there's the Tommy head. Very good likeness. Now, for comparison, I'm actually going to grab the other Tommy. Or not. I have his head put away right now. but here are the White Ranger and Green Ranger, or White Ranger and Red Ranger. Whoop. And we have Lord Draken. Now, if I lay him down, it's the same size, same frame body. And here's a comparison between young Jason David Frank and older Lord Draken. You can definitely see it's the same faces. The eyes could be a little bit better. And you got his hair being darker, like all villains. And of course, the Draken helmet is a variation of White Ranger merged with Green Ranger's helmet. That's why they're like that. So yeah, now I have these four together. And yes, this did not come with the White Ranger. This came with a Red Ranger that had the gold shield, which unfortunately took a bad fall. So this dagger, I kind of gave it to the White Ranger. But let's do a comparison. Now this is from the Legacy figures that came before Hasbro. Now obviously you can see the Hasbro one is much smaller, no matter what side you are looking at. The paint application is much better on the Legacy one. So I may be... Now unfortunately the Legacy one does not fit all the way in his scabbard, in his sheath here. So that's one bad thing. Now let's take a look at Draken's dagger. Draken's dagger is pretty much... it's almost the same. There's a little bit better gold here on the Green Ranger, but that can be explained away that this is... obviously, he is years and years and years behind young Tommy. So this dagger also has aged over time. So that makes perfect sense there. Now, will Draken's dagger fit in Green Rangers? Yes. Because they're basically the same thing. It's just the paint application is a little variant, a little different. Like here, you can actually see the green kind of overlapping some of the metal here, but that's perfectly fine. Let's get Dragon Dagger there. Now I just need a Dragon Zord, which would be great if Hasbro did that. I would love it if they did a Dragon Zord figure. I was not able to get a Legacy one when they originally came out, and they're a little bit hard to find now because, well, everyone's trying to grab them as quickly as possible. Now, if we compare the Green Ranger to the Lord Draken's more of a proper gold, whereas this is more of a mustardy kind of plastic yellow. I mean, you can still see the Dragon Zord power coin in there very clearly. Same thing on his, but his definitely has more of a gold application. Could this be fixed? Yes, if you are that skilled of a painter and you can tape everything off perfectly, you could probably do that. My only concern is I would probably paint over the red in that surrounds the coin, or going over the black here. That would be my only concern because I am not that great of a detailed painter. But there we are. What do you guys think? Is it a home run? Is it a slam dunk? Is it a swing and a miss? What do you guys think? I mean, we have Tommy at 4 points in his time periods. Okay. Now, I mean, well, if I really want black Black Dino Thunder, I can actually grab him. He is available on Amazon for about $21. However, knowing my luck, he'll probably be introduced in the next wave. So that's why I'm holding off on that. Because I'd rather get a Lightning Collection body frame, because it's much more posable. And I mean, the legacy ones, they just look too damn shiny, too much luster. I like the look that they've been doing with the Ranger so far. So right now I got 4 Tommies here. Woohoo! Again, the posability on here, I mean, he's pretty stable. As you guys can see, he's standing on his own without any kind of a stand or peg. Of course, I know on the box we could try and recreate what he does, so let me go ahead and do that. He's got the dagger in his right hand, and he's got the, like he's getting ready to do an attack. Let's see if we can get that pose going on. Can I do it? Yay! Of course, you guys are looking at a downward angle, but this is pretty much what we're going for. I have his leg arched out exactly like that. So that's pretty awesome right there. I really love this. It's like Tommies of the Morphin Grid unite. So there we go. So we have let's move some of these Rangers out of the way. White Ranger, you go. Zeo Ranger Red. You know, Zeo Ranger Red's a pretty good figure because he came with his Star Sword. He's got his little blaster, and he's got a Zeo Blade in here. I know a lot of people were complaining that Rocky Blue Ranger, the Zeo Blue Ranger, only came with his little sword and his blaster, and that's it. They kind of gave Tommy everything. Well, we'll see what happens with some of the other figures. But here we are. Just put those off to the side. Move Draken out of the way. And there we are. And of course, we can make Tommy a good guy by removing the Sword of Darkness. And we could have it where he's kicking the Zeo Putty, the Z Putty, where the Z Putty's exploding. There we go. Now, as far as the Z Putty, it's about the same size body. All the Ranger bodies, pretty much for the most part, are about the same size. It's just some of the frames are designed a little differently, like with the female Rangers. But pretty much all the Rangers are pretty much the same size body, but they just have a few extras here and there. Now, again, here's a little bit where some of the, because Tommy has the bands on his arm, there's a little bit extra material, so you might see a little bit of chipping or bending here. Because of that elbow joint, that's all. But all in all, I'm really happy with them. I finally have a Green Ranger. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I could let that Z Putty live. Maybe. So So there we are. Again, I have a really crappy desk. I need to get a new one because it's not perfectly stable. But there we are. What do you guys think of this? Are you a yay or a nay? Do you have criticisms? Do you think, yes, the helmet is a problem? Or do you think that the helmet is, it's a toy. It's a collectible. It's okay. Or do you think that they should do something about that, like they did with the Dino Thunder White Ranger helmet? Because they sent me that replacement. I have that on them right now. And this is just the original head. They don't make you send it back. They let me keep it. So there we are. So there is the review of Putty and Green Ranger. What do you guys think? Are you getting tired of them doing different variations of the Green Ranger? Personally, like I said, I would love to get my hands on that Putty Green Ranger 2-pack because I love the silver trim on it. It just made it look so badass, at least in my opinion, guys. So there we are. Early Christmas for me. And I hope you guys like this. I'm gonna reach back to you with my final thoughts in just a few seconds. Okay, guys, so there was my little unbox of Lightning Collection Green Ranger and Lightning Collection Putty. I actually like these. These came out really good. I may try and acquire a second one, maybe. I'm still holding out that I will somehow be able to get my hands on the 2-pack that came out like a year, almost 2 years ago. I waited. There was a chance I could have got one for about $44. And I was like, well, let me just wait and see. That's my own problem, guys. Live and learn. I mean, you have an opportunity to get something. If you feel that in your gut, like, yeah, I should just get it, follow your guts, guys. Otherwise, you're going to be missed opportunity. Like I said, right now, I could get that 2-pack for $66.98 on Amazon, or if I go the eBay route, we're talking $70 or $80. I mean, that's just insane, especially since GameStop is selling it right now online. Today, by the way, today's date is the 19th, December 19th, 2020. They have been featuring it online for the past week for $19.99 for the 2-pack. But there's none available in my area. They won't do shipping online, and they won't do any kind of delivery. They just give no options for you, so you're kind of asked out. Unfortunately, part of my language, but I wish there was a way around that because I really wanted that set. But maybe I'll come across an eBay bid that winds up being lower, and I'll be able to win. Maybe we'll see what happens. If not, I have a pseudo 2-pack by having these 2 figures. So there we are. I really like them both. I mean, yes, you did hear me point out a few negatives, but you know what? Nothing's 100% perfect, guys. Like I say with some of the prop building, when I built my my main pack here now, the imperfections are what perfect it. The imperfections add a story to it. I mean, like the little, let me take the energy effect off here. Like the little, there's some little beat upness on here. You probably can't see on this camera, but I showed it in the previous portion of the video. That adds that obviously this Putty's been through some battles. He's survived a few battles, so I mean that's kind of a good thing. I'm glad that for the most part Tommy's armor and paints look really good. I mean, any kind of fatigues. Now there is one thing I just noticed here. If we lift the scabber up, well, you can see it actually on both sides. There's a line of the plastic along his, almost like a seam of a pant leg, and it is pretty noticeable. That's the only, I mean, for the most part, that's probably the only major gripes I have. Everything else is pretty good. I mean, could the blade have been a little bit better? Yes. Could they have gone with gold paint instead of this mustard yellow for the morpher? Yes, they could have. But that's neither here nor there, guys. I mean, those are small minimal gripes. compared to some of the issues that they've had with previous Power Ranger figures in years past. None that I've experienced myself, but that I've seen other people point out in previous videos, like the wrong color scabber or having it on the wrong side, applications like that. But for the most part, I mean, I am over the moon on these guys. I love them. I love how they turned out. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think that both of them were a home run? Do you think that some of the paint applications there should have been more quality control, or do you think they're awesome just as they are? Well, drop your views on the comment section below, please. Now that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Okay. If there's something you liked, hit that like button. If there's something you didn't like, hit that dislike button. If you have some criticisms about the video or about how my approach on everything, please drop it in the comment section below, or go into the description details and you'll see an email address, and you can send me an email on your thoughts or your concerns or maybe some suggestions for future videos. And speaking of which, if there's some new Power Ranger characters that are coming out, or just some new collectibles that are coming out that you think I would either love to do an unboxing on, or just something you think that would be very cool for the channel to do, whether it's maybe reviewing some past collectibles, or maybe you have questions about some of the craziness that you see in the Fortress of Geekitude, as I like to call it. This is just my little corner, my little dimension. This is Dave's dimension, where chaos and insanity reign supreme, and that's what it's about, guys. So, until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying, keep on busting, and I'll catch you on the flip side.